Hello, everybody. So, I have a really special something for you all today. I had just finished up a session with one of my clients, and we just had this huge breakthrough together. And basically, what we're doing now is we're doing this joint to live video together. And I had just invited her to join me on this video, and hopefully it's going to work. I've never actually done a Facebook Live with somebody else simultaneously before, so we're just experimenting to see if that works. But in the meantime, before I kind of get into the story, I'm just going to be sharing this into some of my groups and my page. So if you pop on live, feel free to let me know that you're here. Or if you're watching the replay, let me know that you're watching also. And we're going to try to get her on this call. So bear with me as we figure out all the tech behind it. And we are going to share something super awesome with you guys. So bear with us just a sec. And we are going to figure this out. Thank you for all the hearts that you guys are sending. I love it. And we are going to see here how this works. So add viewers to be in your broadcast. How do I do that? This is going to be fun because now I'm going to know exactly how this works. Perfect. So I sent an invite to you. If you're watching this live, it should be coming your way. But I'm going to have her introduce herself, so I'm not giving too much away right now. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hi, Jules. So we are going to have a special guest in just a minute as soon as we both figure this out. But yeah, so this is basically going to be a live testimonial from a session that just happened. Okay, Shamyla's here. Hey, did you get an invite to join this live? It says it sent you one, but I don't know. We're gonna figure this out, I promise. So was there anything, I think also, Shamyla, it might have to be, like, are you on your phone or are you on a computer, by the way? I probably should have asked you that before we just jumped in. So I think it might need to be on a phone. Ah, okay. Is there a way that you can hop on your phone? And I know that it has to be like the sideways way instead of the long way, if that's okay to try. And I think certain laptops have so much trouble with Facebook Live, but I'm not entirely sure. Would that feel good to try? Have her send you the invite? Yeah, that's totally cool too. Like if you get an option to invite me to the live video, like for us to join it together, feel free to send me that. But I think it might just be a matter of switching from laptop to phone. Oh, something popped up here. What does this mean? Approve. That's a good sign. We'll see what happens. Thanks for staying with me, you guys. We're going to make it work. Okay, so I'm just going to share this around into some groups real quick, and then we'll see what happens. So it says adding. So Shamyla, are you getting anything in terms of notifications, or is anything happening on your end?
Hi,
Oh,
work?
my goodness, we're here.
Yay! Does it
Cool.
work? Can people hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, if anyone that's watching right now can let us know if you can hear us both, that would be fantastico. I don't know where that just came from. Alicia, can you hear both of us?
Hello.
Yay, we got the confirmation from Elizabeth. We're good. Shamyla, would you like to
Okay.
let us know like where you live and just a tiny bit about you, and then we'll kind of maybe jump into this topic. I know we just freshly integrated, so like this is super out of our
Yeah.
comfort zones for both of us. So we're just like,
Yeah.
oh, we're just kind of, charting new
Yeah.
territory, you guys.
Yep. So, what
Anything that would
should I
feel
talk
good
about
to share
myself a little
about who
bit?
you are.
Or
Yeah,
maybe
that would
you
be
can
great.
start. Oh, well, yeah, I live in Japan and
Mhm.
oh hey Charlie.
Hi,
Um,
Charlie. Hi, Jules and Claudia.
hi guys. Yeah, and we just did an integration of myself having so much fear to reaching out for people and also having people be there for me physically, like giving me hugs and things like that. Because I grew up with a Japanese mother, like a traditional Japanese mother, and also a Muslim dad. So like I was never ever exposed to hugs from family members. And so I grew up like not having support whatsoever for anything emotional, and so like I had so much abandonment issues with having people support me, and so that's the integration we just did. Yep.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about, if it feels okay, what led up to even knowing this was something we needed to go into. What was the circumstance that might have been leading up to it? If that feels okay to share, if not, I can generalize it for you.
Oh, like having a crush and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just basically like
So
what led us to understand that, oh, there's something we need to look at here, and kind of like what in your
um
day-to-day life brought you to that awareness.
oh,
Hi,
okay.
guys. Hi,
So
Sarah.
um yeah, like for me, I had no problem talking to people about my emotions and all that stuff with people online, and I have friends
Yes.
everywhere in the world, and so I talked to everybody about things, but I was like so afraid. Like when it came to people physically being there for me in person,
Hmm.
I couldn't let myself be emotional anymore. Like I go back to that acting put together all the time, like being, um, trying to prove myself that I'm okay and like all that stuff and dissociating myself from the feelings. So like I would actually, um, tell us like talk about my emotions as if I was telling somebody else's story. So there was that distance between me and my emotions when it came to people being there, physically being there for me. And then but there's a huge difference when you can actually be emotional, like be in feeling emotions while you talk versus like talking as if it's somebody else's story. Because as like if you keep telling people like as if it's somebody else's story, you're never going to feel heard because it's actually not you talking, it's about somebody else, and somebody else is being heard, but it's not you who's being heard. So it was me, like, like having that difficulty of being emotionally vulnerable in front of people, and I kept dissociating, and I had no idea why. I wanted to reach out, I wanted to speak my truth, I wanted to be more emotional, that stuff, but I just couldn't let myself be that. And I was like, I just didn't know how or why or what, like what or when. I didn't know anything, but yeah, I knew where I wanted to get to. I just didn't know how to get there. So
Yes.
yeah, and
So
then
it'll
it
kind of
came.
lead us into maybe where we kind of determine like, oh wow, like this is what we need to look at. And I think it kind of all started when we were kind of talking about what she just described here. But where it kind of took a turn, where we kind of were like, oh wow, like we need to look at this. I think when it was like, well, what if you told your own story? What if you were your vulnerable self in front of these people? What
Yeah,
bad thing would happen? What did we learn?
yeah, yeah, and then yeah, you asked me that question, and then I went into it, and I thought, oh, I think I'm actually really afraid of rejection, and um, me not being good enough or worthy enough for me to be vulnerable in that state of like not having anything to guard me, to armor me up, to just when I'm like naked, being who I am really, people would not like me. And it was that rejection of after showing who I am really and being rejected. And that was my biggest fear. And then so we went into the session with that scenario, right? My recent scenario was it 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 brings up to me the strongest when I'm actually trying to talk to a guy that I have a crush on, and it comes up so much more strongly for me that yeah, we took that scenario, like, him being there with me, physically present, and like how afraid I could be of him actually trying to like be present for me as I become really emotional and vulnerable. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, and then we took it from there and how it felt for me, like how much fear I had with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so to kind of paint the picture for what that looked like was obviously we knew that there was that sense of rejection. Like that's why we're not showing our true self. That's why she wasn't able to be her authentic self or vulnerable self or emotional self in front of either this guy or other people for that matter. So in order to really access the emotions behind that, we kind of had to run through a scenario in her
Mhm.
mind first to really access those feelings within the body. So the way that that looked was in this particular example with the guy she has a crush on, right? We had her actually run through what it would feel like to be open in front of him and what that would bring up within her to
Yeah.
do. So initially, that actually wasn't even able to happen right away. So what happened first was basically this part of her that was running through the scenario, instead of being open and allowing of this to happen, decided it needed to kind of cower and
Mhm.
hide and tell him to go away. Like, I don't want you here. Um,
Yeah.
so what we did was we were completely present, understanding and validating of that part of her. I mean, of course, that's the reaction based on what's happened, right? So what we did was instead was we took the initiative to go into that perspective fully with the intention of finding resolution with this by allowing her to actually do it and see what would happen, to see what bad thing would truly happen. And before we can even get an answer as to how he would react, that's when all the physical sensations started firing off. That's when all the emotions came flooding to the surface, essentially. And with really like this, because it came on so strongly, for those of you that are familiar with the completion process, um, that's when it was like my indication that like we're immediately going into it by asking that question, that magical question. When was the very first time that you felt this same feeling? And would it feel okay to describe what came up in that moment?
Yeah. Sure. So I was in complete darkness. And first, I had no idea what age or where, or I knew that it was me, but I had no idea everything else. I had no idea, but it was just darkness. But then there was a thought that it was actually me who felt threatened by somebody coming near me. So it wasn't actually, it was the opposite. It wasn't me going like, don't come near me, don't come near me. It was
Yeah.
actually people trying to threaten me, people trying to attack me. And I was so afraid that people were trying to like kill me, or and that's what I was actually protecting myself from, people trying to kill me. And so that's why I didn't want people near me. And yeah, after realizing that,
That it was
I think,
basically a protector self.
yeah, yeah. So after that, I went into, it became a little bit more clear that I started um, seeing me as an embryo. And then it was somebody chasing me, and I was like trying to run away from something or someone, or I don't even know who, but it
Mm-hmm.
was still dark, and it was that being chased by somebody, someone, something, I have no idea what. And it was still dark, and yeah, and then it was that embryo being so confused about what was going on, and we had to sort of be there with her. And then she came up to the sensation that there was like a wave of huge darkness coming right at her to attack her, and she has no idea what it is, but she had to run away from it.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, after we got to that, I think you suggested that it's probably actually an emotion that is being signified as wave of darkness. And then so we had to sort of feel that darkness.
Yeah, we had
Um,
to see if that resonated, to see if that's potentially what that was. So that she was being chased and tormented by these emotions that were just so painful and turbulent. But of course, like, a child who wants to be in that space, of course she'd run away. Of course she'd feel like that's coming after her, especially when she had no way of expressing that with anybody, or she didn't feel safe to even feel that way.
mhm.
So what we deemed in that moment by checking in with her was, maybe we'll be willing to try this out to see what would happen if we faced it instead of ran away from it, but we need to have a huge support team first.
Yeah.
So what did we do in that moment?
Yeah, so it like popped up to me that I wanted people to be there for me, to like, it was just too scary for me to actually try to feel it. And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted as many people as possible who were actually willing to feel. And that was the important part of me, that I needed people who are ready to face emotions and like wanting to like being okay with emotions, like actually wanting to feel emotions. So that
Yes.
was the key. And then I brought in as many people as possible, and it turned, you know, like you were there, Teal was there, and also my other practitioners and therapists and friends, and also like spirit animals and spirits and animals as well, and all these like warriors and fighters and those people unafraid to go into dark. It was really cool to find like
Oh, it was so good.
nocturnal animals like not afraid of darkness, like leopards and owls and yeah, and wolf and all these animals. And yeah, we gathered together to go into that darkness, to have
Hmm.
to feel like, you know, I don't, so that I don't have to go into darkness alone, and so that it doesn't have to feel like a huge like if I were to do it alone, I don't think I could do it. It's something that was so scary to me. I was an embryo being, you know, like attacked by a huge wave of darkness, and that's like too much to take care of. So like I really needed
Yes.
support, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, and good support too, you know, like the right kind of support. um, and yeah, so I gathered whatever I could, and then I was still afraid, but recognizing the fact that I'm still am afraid, and then I actually spoke up about how I was still afraid after even having the support, and then we validated that. We told her that it's okay, and she was afraid that, you know, like if she wasn't allowing herself to receive enough support, and then so that could be the reason why she's scared, that she was like she wasn't sure if she was doing it right. So we told her that she's doing really good, and then, you know, that really helped her receive the support even more. So what she did was that she came to sit on my lap, and this is when it gets good, you know. She came to sit on my lap, my adult me, and then she had everybody to support me from the back. So we created this huge support system of everybody holding everybody behind them, and like it's just like layers and layers after layers of support of people, you know. Like if I fall, the people behind me will have me hold me, and if they fall, people behind them would hold them, and it was just like this huge support system that
Mm.
we created so that I would never fall, you know, so that
Yes.
I could, yeah, face it. And that was the kind of support that I really needed to face that kind of darkness. So that's what we did. Yeah.
So in that moment, then it felt safe enough for us to go into it because we had what we needed in order to feel comfortable and face it. And it was intense. Like definitely we'll say it was intense, but it was so healing. My God. So
I
when we were able to kind of successfully move through those sensations, then what
Yeah.
was really at the root of all of it became known to us. What this little girl really needed and didn't get,
Oh
what she's
God.
missed out on. Does that feel okay to
Yeah.
share?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
totally. So it was really about what she really wanted was just to be able to feel. And for her, that felt like such a huge there was such a huge distance for her to be able to feel, because she had all these fears accumulated before the actual feeling in order to feel. So she had to, like, she had no way to get access to the actual feeling.
Yes.
And then after moving through that fear, it was just that yeah, she actually, all she wanted was somebody to hug her and
Mm.
be there for her. And yeah, so that she doesn't have to be any different than she is. And um, that somebody would just accept her for being upset, being sad, or whatever it is that she's doing, being herself or anything, just a hug and that acceptance of it's okay to feel, it's okay to be her, like be herself. And just having that kind of somebody embracing her for whatever it is that she's going through, and not having to be any different. And it was just a hug that she needed, literally just a hug, you know, just to be like, oh, I see what you're feeling, it's okay, and I take you in, and yeah, just feel, I'll be right here with you as you feel. And that's the kind of, that's all she wanted. She didn't need people to make her feel better or anything like that. She didn't want to be happy, or she just wanted to be accepted for whatever it is that she
What,
is.
do you remember how powerful the moment that was?
Yeah,
What were you feeling when you
I
found that out?
yeah, I cried, and I was just like, oh my god, I it still makes me emotional to think about, I mean, just to go through this, and I'm like shaking as I talk about this, because this is how much it means to me. And like I'm like totally shaking the phone. But
Yes, yes.
yeah, it's that's yeah, it was
So
really intense. And it was that, I don't know, like all these fears were all there, and to find that it was that simple, like whatever it was, like it is simple, but this is so huge, to just have somebody just hug you and accept you and embrace you. And it's so simple, and yet like the most powerful thing that could ever happen in terms of like love and connection and support. And yeah, that's all we need, you know, like we don't need to have somebody try to make us feel better. We don't need yeah, I am shaking. Yeah.
oh,
Thank you. Yeah, so but it was so huge to me that and also like so I was also really sad that like I never had this kind of attention from people around me, as like as a baby, as a child. Like nobody has ever done that to me growing up. And to realize that was, there was that sadness, but then there was so much more there's so much more joy and gratitude and all that stuff for actually finally being able to reach out for that hug. You know, I actually, it was my little baby came to actually hug me as an, like me as an adult me. And she actually reached out to me herself, and all she wanted to do was just stay. Like she just wanted to hug me and stay there, like no matter, like just stay there, you know, like a, almost like a kangaroo baby, you know, like staying in that pocket, you know, like it was literally like
totally.
that. I just wanted to hug hug the adult me and just stay there forever. And that's all I wanted, you know, just be sad and hug, and that's all. And yeah. And then after that, do you have anything to say, Matthew, with this?
Oh, sure. So number like the thing that we really learned the most, I think like the biggest takeaway already, and this integration quite literally, you guys like just took place like 20 minutes ago, but this felt aligned for both of us to do, so that's why we're here. But the biggest takeaway now is that you get to have that support system now in your everyday life. It doesn't have to go anywhere. And I really want to point out the proof in that in a couple of ways where I'm already seeing it. So number one, you're getting to be yourself and be vulnerable and be accepted and have people stay with you. And I'm right here with you this entire time. You're not doing this alone. And within the context of the comments, look who's already saying, allow yourself to shake. People are completely okay with how
Yeah,
you are in this moment. And this is
yeah,
proof of that.
yeah, yeah. Thank
So
you
what you're
so
going to
much.
notice is, oh yeah, like what's going to unfold for you in your reality in terms of that connection and being able to be who you are and have people who stick around.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think this is why we did this together, and also to have enough, you know, like because I still had a little bit of fear of going on live videos or anything like that, to actually like present myself this way or show up as who I am. And then so with you having, you know, be there with me to do this together, that was, you know, a huge step for me, have somebody do it with me. And that's support. And also having people here comment like this, or having, you know, people talk to me about this, and to see that people do accept me in this kind of vulnerable state, and sharing my stories and being vulnerable and like shaking and all that stuff. And I'm still feeling so much emotions, but
Yeah.
yeah. And it was so nice to actually be able to, even in this CP as well, um I was doing whatever I wanted to do without the people pleasing, without anything. Like, I was just,
Yes.
right? Just like running around doing crazy things, and people didn't change. Like, no matter what I did or what I said or what I felt or what I didn't do, it was more about what I didn't have to do. Like, I didn't have to
Mhm.
talk to them. I didn't have to try to please them. I didn't have to behave or anything. And no matter what I didn't do or I did do, people had that same attitude towards me, that loving, caring presence that people gave to me. And I could recognize that through looking, um, yeah, looking through their eyes, like people looking at people in their eyes. And they really gave me that kind of full presence that, like, no matter what it is, like, if I just be myself, like, it didn't matter. I didn't have to do anything to get that presence or get that love, and they were still there, always there. And it really didn't matter. And it was such a moment of like liberation, freedom, and I felt so loved, and like my whole body was warmed up, and it was that warm fuzzy feeling that I get, and it was that really deep sense of joy that came really deep from within, inside me. And yeah, like I didn't have to look outward for joy, it came right within, like inside me, and that's all I needed.
Oh
And
my
that
God,
was
that's huge.
that was so good.
Can we all just
Yeah,
take a moment for like everybody that's here watching, like drop your favorite emojis. Like let's show our support for her and how proud we are and like how much of a badass she is for doing what she's doing because she's committed to a super brave journey. And that deserves so much recognition and so much support and so much love. So I invite you, if you're here with us right now live, if you're here with us in the
oh
replay
my
when you're
god.
watching this as a recording, drop all the emojis, drop all the comments, drop everything that you can to show your support because this is
Oh my
beautiful.
god.
This is possible for any of us. I really want you guys to know that. This is something that we all get to have. Look at those hearts. Oh my God, that is insane. It's like
Oh my
not
god,
stopping.
thank you so much. Oh god.
Welcome to the new level of support in your life. This
Oh god, thank you so much.
is what it's all about.
Oh wow.
I love this.
Oh god. Oh, this is so crazy.
We're still right here with you.
Oh my
This is
god,
your
thank you
moment.
so much. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Oh, oh
I know it can
god.
be really hard to receive all of this. This is a lot. So just know that we're completely here with you, even if it's not something you can receive right now. That's okay. But that's the support is
Wow.
here for you. It is here for you whenever you need it.
Yeah. Oh wow, this is
Remember how
so
we talked
cool.
about a wave of darkness? This is the complete opposite. This is the wave of love. Like these are the
Love.
waves of hearts, and it's just continuing to flow forever.
Wow.
This is just exactly where you are now.
Yeah, it's so cool that like it's probably like always there, like it's always been there. It's already always there. But it's really me, like not being able to, like fearing so much to accept or like even look, see. Like I would go hiding because I never think it's actually possible. But there's so much blockages that made me think that I would never ever receive this kind of love. But it's like it's always been there, probably. It was just, like me, like being open to it
Yes.
and to receiving. or just to recognize or whatever, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, there's so much love here, and yeah. Oh
It doesn't
gosh.
have to go anywhere.
No.
I
Wow.
love it. I'm going to check some of these comments. I feel like I haven't been reading them. I've just been so paying attention to everything that you've been saying. Um, is that okay if I answer a question?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. You get to
Sure.
just bask in this moment. This is all for
Yeah.
you. Look at these hearts.
Yay.
It's just this beautiful, continuous stream, and I love every second of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
for
Vanessa
sure.
asked a question. So she
Yeah.
asked, aren't we supposed to be able to do this alone first? I think that is completely up to the individual. So for those of you that aren't completely familiar with shadow work or the completion process, it's a book written by Teal Swan, and it is a book that will teach you how to do this type of work on your own. It gives you all the steps, all the information, everything you need to know, and why it's so helpful as well. But the thing is, there are some traumas or some instances where, you know, it's so much more beneficial to have somebody there with you, especially when it comes down to trauma, when it revolves around abandonment or isolation or anything that involves you being by yourself, essentially. So to have somebody be there with you through that process, I feel like makes it so much more powerful. And the benefit to having somebody there with you, no matter what it is you're going through, is that you get to hold space for your emotions, as I get to help do that with you as well. And when you're experiencing things that feel so painful or so uncomfortable, it's like so hard to navigate yourself through a journey like this while holding on to those emotions and feeling them completely and not wanting to dissociate or not wanting to cope out of them or not wanting to just completely dismiss it entirely. And then sometimes too, like we'll have parts of our subconscious come up, like our protector aspects, or, you know, this subconscious chess match will begin where it's basically you're trying to get away from these parts of you that are trying to prevent you from even seeing what's behind them. So I think the value in having somebody to work with you is that we can actually see the objective picture. It's kind of like Teal made this reference once where instead of looking through the telescope, you're now zooming out, looking at yourself, looking through the telescope, but you're getting this expanded perspective as to what's really happening here. And then we're not obviously as attached to those particular subconscious games, quote unquote, that are, you know, being played, that we can really see and navigate them really easily. That way it kind of feels like more of a smooth process that we're just here to guide you. But the beautiful part about all of this is it's all you doing the inner work. We're simply here just to show you the way to guide you. And the transformation is happening within. And I think Teal also called us, when we were being trained, like emotional midwives. So it's like this type of process will take place no matter what, right? But we're just here to make sure it goes the best that it possibly can for you. So that's basically how that works in terms of doing it by yourself, doing it with a person, a facilitator. And I think just doing this work in any capacity that you can is super self-loving and transformative. Let me see what else you guys have said. Laura says, thanks so much for sharing this with us. You're so welcome. And thank
So
you, by the
welcome.
way, Shamyla, for being here with
Yeah.
me. I think this is so
Yeah, this is
awesome for both
good.
of us right now, but
Yeah.
especially to show you the new proof
Yeah.
of what's happened here, what integration
Yeah.
does, to show
Yeah.
people what's possible and to show yourself what's possible. And it shows me what's possible. Like I get inspired by this also.
Yay.
Let's see. Safana says, this is so cool. Yeah. Jules says, thank you so much for sharing. Very informative. Grateful to have been a part of this. You're so welcome. Thank you
Very
for being
welcome.
here. Billy's showing us some love. Daniel's showing us some love. Alicia's showing us some love. Jimmy's showing us
Yep.
some love. Always believe that anything's possible. I love that. Yes. So this is
Yeah.
proof right here that, like, no matter what you feel like you're going through, there's a way to look at it and to really figure out what's really going on. And this type of work is completely designed to work with anything you're struggling with. So if this is resonating with anyone that's watching this, whether you're here with me now live, whether you're watching the recording, the replay, know that I've got spots available. So this is something that you're really feeling called to. Feel free to reach out to me. Let me know. I've got a website, planetascension.com. If you want to learn about the completion process, check out thecompletionprocess.com. It's a beautiful, beautiful modality to really do that inner transformative work. And I couldn't recommend it enough. just to see like how powerful this is. I really wanted to show you guys an example of what this looks like and what you can achieve with it. And this is just like the tip of the iceberg, right?
Yeah. I mean, think about where I started, you know?
Oh, it's been such a pleasure and continues to be to watch everyone
Yeah.
grow, including you. Like it's beautiful. It's like I cannot believe like I get to be a part of this too, you know? It's like it's beautiful. It's such a co-creation. And is there any like any words of advice you'd like to give to anyone out there that's either on the fence or unsure or anything that you feel
Um,
inspired to say to anyone who's watching this right now?
oh yeah, it's I want to say one thing about the fears because I personally had so much fears to actually be able to feel, and that was my biggest fear, and so it took me about 7 years now to be able to come to just to peel the layers off to be able to feel, because I just had millions and millions of layers to feel. So when I first started CP, I was so scared of the CP itself that I didn't want to do a CP, and then I had to start from the fears I have towards CP, and that was my first, like literal my first CP was to do it on the fears of CP I have, so I can actually
Mhm.
start doing CPs. And then so
Yeah.
I just want to say that it's so normal to have fears for everything, like to have people around you, or to have to actually even to do CP, or to um yeah, to feel or to reach out, to do something, stand up on your own, to come into power, to be to let go of stuff. Like there's so much fears for everything that we do, and it's okay to have that fear, and we can actually work through the fears so that we can actually move on to the next step. And there's no shame in having fear. So just
That's so
recognize
important.
that you are in fear and you are confused, and there's a panic going on, confusion, you have no idea what the hell you're doing, and you have no idea where it's going, or you have no idea where you're headed, or doesn't matter, like you could be just as confused and like lost and just no energy or powerless or whatever. Like there's a way to move through it, and this the completion process is definitely super powerful, like really, really powerful way to move through it, because you have somebody to hold space for you and do it together with you, having a practitioner. You can also do it yourself if it feels better for you that way, but if it feels better to have somebody be there with you to do it, then by all means, I don't know, call up Matthew, email him or message him, or there are plenty of other practitioners out there to do it for you. Like, whoever works for you, there's at least one person who works for you, um like a
Yes.
perfect match for you, so you can like go find that. And also there's so many more other things you can do. You can just talk to yourself about the fear, you can write it out, you can do whatever that feels less pressuring or intimidating to do at that moment, and then do that. And if you need help to validate your feelings, there are like people out there like myself as well. If you want to come talk to me about emotions, like I'm always there as well. So um yeah, to have somebody validate it for you, there are people who would do that for you and then make it easier for you. So it's really about what you need. And it's different for everyone. Like the steps I took was perfect for me, that exactly what I needed to do in my order, and that's what it was. But it's different for everybody else. So it's really, taking your steps, like no matter how tiny of a step it is, like that step is a huge step. So just if you keep doing it, yeah, things can be so different, and um, it's okay to want something so much more than what you have right now. And
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that you're abandoning yourself as who you are right now. You're okay with who you are right now, but you want something more. That's totally fine, So
Yes.
that's possible, and so that's what it is. Like I'm okay with who I am right now, but I want things to be different. So that's why I'm doing
Mhm.
this, because I want to be able to receive more. I want to be able to open up more. I want to free myself, and that this is for me. Like it's coming out of my own will that I want to do this. So yeah,
Super
that's
important distinction,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. I used to get confused about that, like if I like if to be okay with who I am right now, I thought like I can't want to reach out for something more because I was like, oh, then I'm not okay with who I am because I want something else. But that's like different, that's totally you those are different things. And I
Yes.
think being okay with who I am right now is more about um it's more about, I think, looking at who you are right now and accepting that things are the way it is right now because of the things that happened in the past, and because I have all these imperfections and all these things that hurt me and keep me stayed where I am right now. And to be compassionate and understanding of where you are right now, and how you are, what you are, and being completely like embracive of like all the things that are happening right now to me in terms of pain and suffering and everything, like all together, like giving yourself that compassion that
Yes.
yeah, that I had no other choice but to be this way right now. And it's okay because, yeah, I went through so much shit, like, um, yeah.
That's
And then,
huge. Like,
yeah,
to be okay with where you are, not resisting where you're at, and also not being in denial of where you're at, because you can only know where you want to go once you know where you are. It's kind of, I like to use the analogy of the GPS quite a bit, where in order to get the directions to where you want to go, you have to first put in where you are. So we have to fully understand exactly where we are, who we are, and be completely in that. And then from
hmm
that place, we choose where to go.
yeah, yeah. And that's really scary too, to actually
Yeah.
recognize where you, to
That's
actually like
important to know
admit,
too.
yeah. But that's totally normal too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Like anybody would feel that
including,
way, I feel.
yeah. I think it's like including that fear of not wanting to know where I am right now is already like that. Just to accept that I have a lot of fears about admitting to things, and it's so I
Yeah.
don't know everything, and that's okay
Yep.
too.
Beautifully
That's
said.
exactly where I am.
Oh, so
Yeah,
well done. I love that. That's going to help a lot of people. I can already tell.
yeah. There's
Thank
so
you
much
so much.
fears. Yeah, it's okay to be afraid. We're all
Yes.
afraid. We're all in fear.
Yeah, that's the thing. And the thing that really hurts a lot of us is that we think we're in our pain alone, but it's like, oh my gosh, like almost everyone else is too. So
Pretty
that's the
much.
thing, is knowing that like it's okay to feel how you feel. It's okay to be where you are.
Mhm.
Even if there's fear around that, that's okay too.
Yeah.
And there are
Yep.
people out there that will be okay with it, even if they don't
Yeah.
believe they're,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it's
we're here
okay
to
to
show you
not
what's
like.
possible.
Yeah, it's okay to not be able to see those people right now. They are there. So be patient. I think people are there already. It's just it might seem like there's nobody, but it is. Um, I know how that feels like. I think Matthew knows exactly how that feels like too. Um,
Yes, I do.
but yeah, like if you keep, I think validating yourself, if you keep being giving that compassion to yourself, it'll just keep opening up. And then when you're more and more okay with where you are, people or whatever step it is that you need to take, but like even if you don't see them right now, they are there, and there's so much hope there that you will be able to see these people, and then you'll be able to recognize these people, and they'll be right there with you. And then it's so possible, and it's yeah, everybody deserves this. Everybody has access to this. It's not something that only I have, or only Matthew has, or only spiritually like super woke, like enlightened people have. It's not what that's not what it is. You could be
Yes.
just as messed up and in like all these darkness and all these places and still have access to this. That's not what it is. So um it depends on the
But you get to
person
deserve
probably.
connection no matter where you are. Yeah.
But everybody deserves this, no matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, what your job is, like what language you speak. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's a basic human need.
Yeah, it is a basic human need, and everybody has access to this. Everyone deserves this, and we're all here to give this to each other, you know? And I think that's what it is all about, like connection and love and human and all that. Yeah, so
Oh, I
I'm
could
seeing
not
a
have
lot
said
of
that
my
any better.
friends. Is Lynn here and David and also maybe Claire is here too. I don't know. Some of my friends are here. This is kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Hi
Yay.
guys.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Shamyla, for being here and doing this with me. I think this is just like pure evidence of what you've achieved. And it's just so fantastic. And I'm so grateful to not only know you, but to have been a part of this journey with you. And I think this is going to just make it so okay for people to be where they are. So thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you so much. Oh my God, I can't
welcome.
thank you enough, you know, and yeah, and if people want to yeah, if people want to add me on Facebook, go ahead. Yeah, please do. And I'm
Look at
like
all the new
really
hearts coming.
I'm really wanting to, yeah, make more
Oh, that
friends
is
and
so
be,
beautiful.
yeah,
I'm so proud of
reach
you. I'm
out and stuff.
so
So,
proud of you.
yeah, thank you. I'm proud of
You're welcome.
myself too.
Beautiful. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, but to know that if
Yeah,
anybody else that watches the recording after this, feel free to leave your comments. We'd love to
yeah,
hear from you. And
yes.
yeah, we will talk to you guys soon. You're
Yeah, thank you so much.
welcome. Bye, guys.
Okay.